Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to what is the highest form of pleasure for a spiritual person? Really, the word pleasure. I never thought I'd hear that. What is the highest? Well, how would I phrase this? Pleasure is not really. I mean, maybe it's just again cultural. The word pleasure is. It does mean what it means, but maybe a little bit more for me, I suppose. What is the highest form? I don't know how to ask this question. What's the highest form for a spiritual person? Achievement. Attainment. Anyways, I don't know. Let's go and get started.
In fact, that's what all of us are doing, knowingly or unknowingly. When a person, suppose, say, he gets fulfillment by looking after his family, when he sees a child or his grandchild, they feel tremendous, excitement and love and compassion. That makes them feel nice and warm and good. So, all of us, while we are leading a very worldly life, which we call it, chasing after pleasure, hedonistic, kind of pursuits, we are, in a way, all of us, including me or Nishit Bhai, we have this kind of, if you like, balance between a kind of spiritual aspiration and, if you like, a worldly attraction. And it is understandable. So don't vilify it. In fact, one of the beautiful Upanishads, I've touched on it before, I must bring it up again, is Kathopanishad. And it says something very beautiful. It says, throughout our lives, we are faced with two issues, two things come in front of us. One is called Shreya, which means beneficial, and the other is called Preya, which is pleasurable. Your senses get ticklish, I like that. I like to eat that, drink that, run after that. So we got Shreya and Preya. They both come to us all the time. And the important thing is, as we go through life, we begin to realize that the Preya does not produce the lasting results we were expecting. Whatever was pleasurable, in no time becomes kind of boring, and you lose interest in that. It does not produce the result that you're looking for. So the prayer is very pleasurable at the start, but doesn't produce the result that you are searching for, doesn't resolve your human condition. While Shreya, which is not necessarily very pleasurable, it may be being very disciplined and all that, is the one that produces benefits. So slowly, as we mature, we kind of lose our kind of attraction towards the prayer and become more and more attached to Shreya. So this is a normal transition for every human being. Nothing to vilify, nothing to get frightened about. So you can say, I like to follow pleasurable things, and then say, okay, but I didn't really I'll give my example. I love chocolate cakes. I'm fed up now, and now I feel like puking. Don't feel like it. But I was chasing it after all my life. But suddenly I said, no, it doesn't have any taste anymore. I'm bored with it. So in the same way, what you are chasing after may appear very attractive for the time being.
Well, the thrill of the chase.
Thrill of the chase, but at the same, it's wonderful. But then at some stage that becomes weak. And then you say something that's long-term beneficial rather than short-term pleasurable is what I'm searching for. So that transition will happen naturally. If you are sincere and you are watchful about your own progress, you'll soon realize that didn't produce result, let me switch now. And that will happen naturally, organically, rather than somebody imposing on you, you have to do this tomorrow. It's up to you.
Gotta hear that again. The explanation of
us, while we are leading a very worldly life, which we call it, chasing after pleasure, between a kind of spiritual aspiration and, if you like, a worldly attraction. And it is understandable. So don't vilify it. In fact, one of the beautiful Upanishads, I've touched on it before, I must bring it up again, is Kathopanishad. And it says something very beautiful. It says, throughout our lives, we are faced with two issues, two things come in front of us. One is called Shreya, which means beneficial, and the other is called Preya, which is pleasurable.
Okay, so long term we look for something beneficial, short term we look for something pleasurable, for sure. And this kind of goes along the lines of the last video I did with Swami Tadamadanda's Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, I believe it was, towards the end of the video, where it's something that I've thought about, oddly enough, throughout my day too, is the fact that I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with going after something pleasurable or something temporary. The thing is, though, is that you have to understand that it is temporary, and it's something that is not going to be, how do I say, well, it's temporary, not long lasting. I guess that's really the only way to put it. but not to be disappointed, not to suffer for it. Just enjoy it while it lasts, and whenever it's that enjoyment period is done with, like for him, chocolate cake or whatever it may be, I guess you just, so long as you understand that everything, in a sense, a lot of things in this world is going to be temporary. Everything is temporary, but what I mean by kind of temporary is the fact that in terms of this body's lifetime, it could be a lifetime. But in terms of the grand scheme of things, it is temporary. So to me, there's nothing wrong with seeking temporary pleasures, so long as it doesn't give you any suffering, doesn't sadden you. Because if something gives you temporary pleasure then saddens you, then there's something wrong with it, and you shouldn't be going for that. I don't think it's good. But if something gives you temporary pleasure and then all of a sudden, he's like, well, I'm bored with it now, let me go do something else, I think that's fine. Now, this is not going along the lines of about human to human thing. This is more along the lines of like activities and stuff that you do. I guess that could be human to human activities as well, but so long as you're truthful to each other, I think it's fine. In terms of like, how do I say? If this is something that you both want and understand that this is going to be something potentially temporary, then I guess it's fine, but accept the consequences of your actions. But more along the lines, like even like him talking about the cake, where understand that, you eating cake all the time, chocolate cake, you'll get bored of it. Eventually you might want to switch over to strawberry or vanilla or whatever. but accept the consequences of eating so much cake. But anyways, yes, I don't think there's anything wrong with going and achieving something that's temporary, that's pleasurable. But so long as you understand that it's going to be something temporary and not something that's long-term beneficial, as he was saying, that we all go from, it's not prayer, I forget, it sounds like prayer, the word, but shriya, something that's beneficial. Beneficial is not necessarily good or bad, but it's something that's obviously, well, hopefully beneficial for you for the long term. I guess technically beneficial things can be short term as well. Interesting. But anyways, again, we look for long-term happiness or long-term, I want to say pleasure, because pleasure to me is something too good. Well, something that's not meant to last very long. Happiness is a good thing, but happiness is not necessarily pleasure. Highest form of happiness for a spiritual person. There we go. Because pleasure is it's a step higher. Happiness, the highest. Maybe that's what I was looking for, not pleasure. Anyways, I hope I was pretty clear. Probably not, but I gotta pause right. I gotta end right here anyway. So if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.